Hi everyone, welcome back to the 4th episode of the Sophomore Tea. My name is Cal Borst. I'm a resident director here at Central Connecticut State University. I'm here with Amari.
Hey, it's your boy.
We are also here with Dr. Pohl from the Wellness Center, as well as his graduate intern, Paige. And today we're going to be talking about leveling up your wellness here at CCSU. So, once again, we are joined here with Dr. Pohl and Paige. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves, say what you do, and what exactly your day-to-day looks like here on campus.
Sure. Johnathon Pohl. I am the Wellness Education Coordinator here on campus, and day-to-day is quite variable. There are times when we're out at the Student Center doing a health fair, other times we're doing tabling, we bring in dogs, we got everything going on. Yep. It's really good.
And I'm Paige, the Wellness Programs Assistant, and again, my day-to-day looks different depending on the day, but I'm doing trainings with Johnathon or in the classroom, supervising students on the opioid and stimulant awareness and education grant, and kind of just everywhere on campus.
Yeah, I see you guys doing a ton of things, and it's like you guys are everywhere. You're in the residence halls, you're always in the student center, you're always like at tablings when we have events. And like I think the way you guys are just so proactive here on campus, like in my opinion, you're one of the most proactive departments, and like it's just you guys, you know what I mean? It's really great to see. And especially because I know in our day and age, a lot of times, especially now, there's a lot of kids struggling, right? There's like mental health issues are more prevalent now than ever, right? Especially for sophomores, when they don't necessarily know what they want to do. They don't have that direction. They don't have that path. They don't have that certainty going into their later years. So what are some of like the commonalities that you guys are seeing within, because you've been here for a while, and you've just kind of been in higher ed for a while with, handling and working with college students. Like, what are some of the commonalities and I guess you could say issues that you have noticed with students now as opposed to, say, when you first started?
When I first started, the anxiety level wasn't quite as high as it is now. And financially, I think that's part of what's driving it, is people are very concerned. They want to make sure when they get their degree, they're going to have a good job when they get out of school. The second piece is, what is that good job going to be? And that is in transition now. There are a number of positions that students are worried about that AI is going to take over. And so that's another element that's thrown in there. So there's a number of uncertainties. And unfortunately, that fosters the anxiety. I hope I'm not pushing people to be anxious out there just by talking about these things.
No. But it's important to recognize, right? Because if you're not aware of the issue, how can you attack the issue, right? And so I think, like you said, like, AI, technology, it's really coming into like everything. Like I know like 10 years from now, the whole world could be different, especially when it comes to those different kind of things. And I think, what are some of the different, I guess you could say, avenues or key priorities that you guys like to focus on in your campus department to like help, I guess you could say, bring down that level of anxiousness, anxiety, and just like help provide a solution to those issues that they might be aware of?
Well, one of the things we do is we focus on the 8 factors of wellness. SAMHSA came up with these 8 factors, and they serve us well in trying to get information to students. Our goal is prevention. We want to get the information out there so students get to make the choices they want to make with the knowledge base that they know is going to give them the outcome they're looking for. So the 8 factors are social, environmental, occupational, intellectual, emotional, spiritual.
Social?
Social. Oh, man.
No, I said social. There's 2 more. Physical, and there's 1 more in there too. See, I should have kept the notes.
I'm stressed just hearing about it, but keep telling me.
No, but all these things come together so that they're all tied into one another. If I'm doing well financially, it makes it a lot easier for me then to work on the physical, that sort of thing. And we're not talking about someone going out and exercising, going to Rec Central and going mad on the exercise machines. What we are talking about is movement, just keeping the body moving. So we have dance here at the university, and people can join a dance class, that kind of thing. So that anything like that, where you're moving, you're hiking in the local parks, something like that. So each one of these has like 15 different elements to it that we can have you do on or around campus.
Mm. So is it so through your office? How do you So what are some of the ways that you guys help promote those areas? Like, do you give people like pamphlets and like instructional guides, like coaching? Like, what does that look like from?
That sounds good.
I was like, we like to do that. Yeah.
We give out information through many different sources. Paige runs our Instagram. Okay. So she's constantly giving out information that way to the students. We do have brochures. We try and minimize the verbiage in the brochures because we know students want a lot of quick information. One of the new areas we're getting into is videotaping and doing videos that we can then put on our website. So that's going to be extremely helpful where students could just click on there and find out what happens if I get an underage drinking ticket. You know, how do I find where the dogs are on campus today, those kind of things.
You guys ever thought about making like a TikTok? I think that would be fire.
We do have one.
A TikTok.
Yo, plug all that stuff. We got these cameras here for a plug all that.
It's Paige. Paige is cutting edge. She is.
We have one TikTok currently, and we used, I forget really what the trend was, but we basically showed the many things that we do around campus and what that day looked like for us. And we try to include humor in it and make it funny and relatable. Yeah. Actually went really well, and I made it, I linked it like on our Instagram too, but we want to hear from students that also work in our office, like what we should do, what trends are you seeing, so that we can connect to students more, because we're seeing like on social media, whether that's, we're mainly on Instagram. We had a parents Facebook page when we did one of the informational sessions when it was orientation. Yep, they came. So those ways I think students will engage more with us. So I'm looking at the likes that we're getting, or the many times that they're looking at a post, stuff like that. And that's another way that we kind of get information.
So a big thing that, at least within Res Life and a lot of other campus departments that have struggle with it across the nation, is just getting involvement within programs. And have you guys noticed that same struggle when it comes to just the different initiatives that you try to do to help engage students? Because a lot of times students just want to be just alone in their room. They don't necessarily feel like it's worth it to go outside their room, even though obviously getting involved in building a community, getting involved in Res Life, becoming an RA, or becoming a student worker somewhere, like that's some of the best things you can do in order to gain that certainty, in order to gain that direction, in order to put you on a path that you can develop a career with. Have you guys ran into that? I don't want to say lack of engagement, but like that kind of jump from doing events, but getting people to come to those events, and then at the events actually take in the information that you're trying to.
Isn't he so good at this? This is amazing. He's so good at this. I love how informative he is with everything he says.
Apologies. I lost him halfway through.
It's okay. But we're going to work through it together.
So what we end up doing is we do try to get information from students of what they want to see, so that when they come to the event, there's some element of that there. So we asked the students about our student workers, like what would they like as a giveaway at our health fair? We got a health fair coming up in 2 days. And they said plants. We want plants. And I was like, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
So plants will be given out.
Oh, that's actually cool.
In a couple different forms. We have the little plant that's going to go to the first 300 who come through the door and complete the 8 tables, which are the 8 factors, and then some raffled off larger plant gift box things that are it's alloy plant with like self-care items, and Paige will talk about that more in just a moment. With the health fair, what we're trying to do is personal growth. We know that our students can be resilient if given the opportunity and the tools, and so one of the things we try to do is we try and give them the tools along the way. Yeah.
So what's this about this?
So the theme is personal growth. Again, it's my best self. So students are going to be there to basically just boost their wellness game, level that, but just figure out like what factors they need to work on, what do they want to learn more about, what do they already succeed at. And so with personal growth, it's really individual to each person. So what they're going to get is probably different when they walk through. They're going to go to all the 8 booths. Like Johnathon said, there's also going to be resources in the community there as well. But when they go through, they get a stamp card, and then they're going to get air plants. So I find that those are the easiest to take care of. So if they're in their dorm, they don't need sunlight and a bunch of other things that maybe they don't have on campus, or maybe they're really busy and can't really take care of the plants. But like they want to also like be able to take care of a plant, and So we have those, and then like you said, aloe, and it comes with like a lemongrass, like essential oil, like reed diffuser, and then a bunch of other things too. But I think, like you were mentioning before, getting things that students want will like entice them to come, go through, get something out of the event, and then they get something at the end.
One of the challenges is too, because of COVID, a lot of people are getting their information while staying in a room by themselves. And I think that unfortunately has curtailed people from getting out there and experiencing things. Only 3% of our students will go and study abroad. And study abroad is a tremendous benefit to students, as well as interning, going and doing an internship, trying out a job before you actually commit to a career in that particular job.
Just to add on to that, I do understand what you're saying. I'm feel sure guilty of that. Like, I don't like to get out. I'm very stressed, and I'm aware of it, but it's kind of like a, I'm not against it, but it's kind of like a time thing. Like, I'm so busy doing things. What would you recommend toward me? Like, I would love to go like to these house fairs and things like such, but I work and I do school full time and all that stuff. So what kind of things, even daily or just in general, do you think I could do just to improve stress or lower stress level in general?
So some of the things that I would think about, it's more of like a mindset thing. That's how I think about it. We do prevention, so we think about if we can think of our wellness and these different factors, like that has to come first, or else we're going to continue to be stressed, we're going to continue to be busy. But if we can kind of manage our time in little ways, like we talk to students about journaling, get a piece of, it doesn't have to be fancy journal, get a piece of paper, write down everything you have to do. It could be for academics, it could just be, on the weekend you have things you have to do for your errands, and then no more than like 5 things, so it's manageable. Every time you do it, cross it off, so that there's some sort of accomplishment there, like you really were productive. So we do have to talk about journaling. I think before really doing all of that, just setting a goal for yourself. What do you want to achieve? So goal setting, we mentioned exercising, eating healthy, sleep. Those are all the main things that I think are talked about. But one thing I think that students maybe are struggling with is socializing. So that's why we talk about the health fair. We're expecting 300 students. We do the therapy dog events. That's a way to de-stress, but also socialize. There's students that come by. You're able to meet new people. So I would say doing all those things, but really focusing on being around people who make you feel good, friends, family, even on campus, like getting involved, meeting new people, whether that's a club or a group on campus, or people in your class that you maybe are like, oh, they seem really cool, like we're in the same major, maybe we can study together. I think any way that you can step out of your comfort zone and be uncomfortable for a little bit can help create more of that change, so you can stick to a routine, so you don't feel like it's a hassle.
Yeah, that's a reoccurring theme on this show. Like, we always talk about getting involved, meeting people, communicating. So that's super.
And you may find your anxiety level going up a little bit because you're using time that you could use for other things, but then it's going to drop down afterwards. Like the students that exercise on a regular basis, and we're talking about movement, that sort of thing. They're able to actually feel less anxious after that experience and then get back to studying. If you just study all the time, your anxiety level is going to increase because you can always do more with the studying, and more and more. It's going to seem to be never ending, and then there's nothing that satisfies you in your life.
So if I'm, for instance, like way too into studying, or if I'm way too into working out, and I'm like just putting all like my energy into that one area, would you say or like maybe 2 or 3 areas, and then I'm not like attending to those other areas, like do you think that will have like a waning effect on just like my overall well-being?
Absolutely. Because if you're not dealing with financial, right? So you're spending money left, right, up, down, sideways, right? You're not dealing with financial. Then all of a sudden, halfway through the semester, you go, okay, I'm out of money from food on the weekend. So now you catch the resources, they'll get you to Maria's place. But you need to be able to be outside the room to get to the resources.
Yeah, for those students that are in that kind of spot, like you said, that like need to get those resources, and like kind of similar to like Amari, they're like super busy, they're looking for an internship, or maybe they're just through their own mindset, they don't necessarily feel that, I guess you could say, hope that there is possibility for change. Like, have you found it hard to reach those students, or like because I know there's definitely students out there, but it's like sometimes they're just not even willing to take that first step. It's like, what would you recommend to someone besides like coming to a fair or, you know, going those things, but like just their own personal?
The first step would be to talk to somebody you know and trust. Talk to a friend, talk to a family member, talk to somebody about their experiences in life in general, not just at a university, but in life in general. And ask them, how did you push yourself? How did you get to the point where you feel comfortable with the things you're doing? How did you take up archery if they do archery? And just identify that. And you'll probably find that they took risks, they took chances.
I think also too, it's about like advocating for yourself. So when we're doing tabling events, we're typically not seeing the students that don't want to be involved and are in their dorms. We're seeing the students, we always see the same faces typically, because they're always involved on campus. But I think it's really, like we mentioned, just kind of being comfortable with being uncomfortable, taking that step. But I really think that it's all about the support and like taking that step to talk to people on campus, whether that's, you know, when we're doing the programs on the go in the classrooms, like sometimes we'll mention when we talk about stress management or whatever the topic is, to talk to your professors first, talk to someone in your class. You don't have to go to the actual office where these resources are, but see where they are on campus if you do need them. So I think it's about like, again, like literally stepping outside of the dorm room and then just seeing what's available to you so that you know if you need something, you need support, it's there for you and you won't feel alone.
I mean, that's a huge part, because I think just understanding that it is there, and then because I know for me, like when I was in college, like literally 2 years ago, like I was like, actually it was a lifetime ago. No, like I would be like, oh man, I want to do this. Oh man, I want to. But I found having a forced obligation, such as like a job or just one of our RA duties or something along those lines, like somewhere where I have to be with, like, and not necessarily just end up getting paid on top of that. Like it forces this kind of community that you have to be with like another coworker or to do something. And like, to me, that it indirectly brought me so much purpose and like direction and in the college experience. And so would you say like specifically like finding like a job would be, or I would say on campus job, or what would you say the best way is to take that first step on campus?
It depends on the person, because some people want to take it where they get the financial reward, so they want the job. And I would recommend an on-campus job through career services as opposed to an off-campus job, just because during midterms and finals, if you need that extra day, it's much easier to ask your supervisor who works on campus to say, oh yeah, we understand, versus off-campus where there's no, you have to work the days you're scheduled to work. The second piece is sometimes people don't want the pressure of a job and they may be able to financially not have it, in which case then I'd recommend some volunteer work, because then they can pick and choose and say, well, I really don't like doing this volunteer work, and they can switch off to something else.
That's great. That's great. And so taking it in a direction where like leveling up your wellness. And so I think like we said before, there's definitely like a big undertone of like something needs to be addressed, right? In terms of like we're doing so well here on campus. A lot of people are receiving that help and a lot of people are getting that help. But I think just at times it's so easy just from like walking around, you may not even see someone's issue. You may not even be able to see what they're going through. And I think getting past that barrier of, like we talked about before, when you see those same faces at your fairs, say for instance, like Amari just goes to all the wellness fairs, I think, say for instance, RAs or student workers or the people that are in contact with the people in the halls that may not take that first step, that to me would be the people that would, I guess you could say, be that lending hand to help you get to those people that you're trying to reach. And so have you like been able to partner with, obviously I know you go to a lot of programs in the halls, have you found those to be effective in terms of like getting out information? And
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When we go to the halls, when we're invited in by the RAs, no, we get like 5 times the number of students than if we try and run something ourselves. They had me run a program that included anxiety and how to manage anxiety, and 2 people showed up. You know, no, it's tough. Whereas, and we work with the 2 people, you know, work with whoever's there. But if we can get an RA program, you're anywhere from 10 to 18, 20 people going to the program. So it's great when we're invited in. We really appreciate that. Right now, we're training students in Narcan. You got Narcan on every floor in the residence halls.
What is Narcan?
Narcan is something that will counter the effect of an opiate. So if somebody accidentally uses too much of an opiate, the Narcan can actually block the receptor sites so the opiate can't continue to attack the brain. And so it really is extremely helpful. Unfortunately, a lot of the fake pills now have xylazine in them, which is an animal tranquilizer, which isn't affected by Narcan. But if it's an opiate or a synthetic opiate, the person can actually be kept alive by giving them the Narcan. It's a 4 milligram unit in the halls, real easy to use. There's directions right in the box, but we also want to give people the directions so that they know, okay, this is how it's used.
I mean, that's
real simple and easy.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So far we've trained over 20 people in the halls, and we have another session tomorrow evening.
We got to go, man.
I'm there.
Sophomore club. We're down in the Philbrook camp room.
Oh, nice.
Okay, cool.
Another shameless plug. Sorry.
Many should walk.
This spot to do that.
But it's all about prevention.
No, 100%.
Yeah, so my question is about the therapy dogs. How are you with, I don't know exactly, but how are you with partnering with RAs with the therapy dog, or is that more of like an exclusive thing to your offices? Like, hey,
We signed a
want to bring.
contract with them, so there's the paw print.
So there's no way I can get them to James. There's no way I can do that.
So I'll talk about what we offer, and then you can add on to that. So basically, every Thursday from 2 to 3:30 in our office, every other Thursday, my bad, from 2 to 3:30 in our office in Willard 101. Just so everyone kind of knows, our office is an open area that is connected to health and counseling, but we have our own space and we have our own door, which the best way to go there is to walk into Willard De Loretto Hall, go to Zyme Cafe, we're the first door on the right. We have that door open, we have signs all around on every other Thursday, and we partner with Tales of Joy. So it's an organization that brings dogs in. Sometimes it's one dog, sometimes 2 dogs. We had a Newfoundland that came last time that was really cute. But again, that's a way to socialize, and I post that on our Instagram. But students really love it. One time we had over 90 students show, which is a lot because our space is really small. But
It's around 30.
yeah, usually.
It's 30's great.
Yeah, but I feel like every time you'll see the same faces sometimes, but new people come like right after class, and they really get a lot out of it. But in terms of how, the RAs.
See, the challenge is that we've never had them go elsewhere on campus. It's always been to our place. So we encourage people, if you want to do an RA program with therapy dogs, we use Tales of Joy. I don't know who the library uses.
I've seen the rec do them before, the yoga with the dogs.
They had the yoga with the goats too.
Goats?
I thought they did yoga with goats.
They were
asking
That's a little
about it.
nasty, bro.
I saw the
It's a
dogs,
big
yeah.
thing. It's a big thing. Yeah, yoga with goats. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So what are they called again? The company that you do with
Tales of Joy. There's absolutely no cost. These people volunteer to bring the dogs everywhere they go. They like coming here because we have the space set up in a manner in which they like it set up. No chairs with wheels, etc.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's really cool. I enjoy that.
And so I know another thing that I know from being involved in conduct, that you guys also have choices, and then also, what's the name of the other class? Is it all choices?
Choices is a class where we give out information on, it's a group where we give out information on cannabis or alcohol, depending on which one it is, and the information the students want. With the information, it's just giving them a bunch of information they can take with them and decide what they want to do as a result of that. We do not tell people what to do or what not to do, except one thing: we do ask them not to smoke the cannabis in the residence halls because of the federal regulations. Want to make sure that that does not happen, because that's a huge challenge. The basics is one-on-one. It's 2 sessions, and that's for someone who wants to look at more at what they're doing. Choices is school in general. The basics is their own personal use, and if they want to make changes in their personal use, and we work with them on it. It's driven by them. What do they want to do, not what do we want them to do, because it may be a very different story.
And this is like a voluntary thing, or is it something that you have to go through college?
It's a mix. Sometimes people come because it's a class assignment. Sometimes they come because they want more information so that they know, okay, what are the 4 signs of alcohol poisoning? And we would ask the studio audience, what's the 4 signs of alcohol poisoning? And most people wouldn't be able to get it because it's not been introduced to them. In health classes in high school, they don't talk about it, and it's really important to talk about it.
So if I'm a sophomore and I am unsure of what my next steps are in college, I'm possibly thinking about dropping out, I'm unsure if I want to change majors, if I want to continue along this path. In relation to your office, what would you guys say directly to that sophomore in that spot that's thinking about possibly leaving campus, a different path, is lacking certainty here at Central? What was the best piece of advice that you could say to them?
Well, the first thing we'd want to do is do an assessment with them, just sit down with them, talk about what's going on and what the choices they're looking at, the direct choices they're looking at. For some students, it's a matter of leaving the university may be their path that they want to take. I had a guy who wanted to drive tractor trailer trucks across country.
That's a vibe.
No, they're not going to learn that here.
Yeah.
But the parents wanted him to get a degree. So we worked out a plan where there was a deal cut with the parents. Like, let me do tractor trailer driving for 2 years, and then after that, if I am not successful living independently, I will go back to college. But we really want to identify what is it about being at the university that's the struggle. You know, if they want to look at possible careers, Paige has a number of different resources, the apps, etc., for that purpose.
So I'm going into school counseling. That's my my degree of choice, and with that is a lot of like career assessments and stuff. So in my classes, what I'm learning, I'm able to also like take that, adapt that to if I just had a student come to me who is telling me that, reminded me a lot of myself when I was in my last year of college and I still like was not 100% sure of what I wanted to do. But I started just giving my own advice, but also like recommending, like there's different assessments you can do like that are free, like online career assessments. Like it just tells you more about yourself, your interests, what you're good at, your skill set. So all of that I think helped me a lot. And I think if a student ever came to me, I would pull from my personal experience, like what did I do when I was really lost? And then just help them in that way. But there's like Myers-Briggs and a certain like personality test and just a bunch of different things that it could be fun and tell you a lot about yourself personally. But I think that would really be a good step for students to take. Yeah.
That's awesome. Sweet.
Those also include values. So you can put your values in there as well. So if you really like working with people, if your values are, I want to take care of the planet, as well as, and you put in your interests, it will match you up with occupations of people with similar interests.
Love that.
No, it's phenomenal. And just being able to pull things apart so it's not this overwhelming decision. Do I stay in school or not stay in school? The decision is pulled apart so you can say, okay, what do you need financially for you to be successful? What do you need occupationally or hobby-wise for you to be successful? Because sometimes that's an element of it. And if they can include that in their college experience, they do much better. There are people who are in majors that are focused like on accounting or business who also paint on the side, but didn't recognize the fact we have a whole art building here with art studios in it where you take classes on painting. What a beautiful thing. And you add that in there and that balances it out for them.
Absolutely. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming in today.
Thank you guys. That was awesome.
Yeah, so is there anything else that you wanted to add, man, or anybody, or you guys wanted to add?
If any student, this is one thing they don't know about our office, if any student wants to do a program, wants to come in and talk about something they're passionate about that they'd like to have on campus, we'll do our best to make it happen. And it really does help if the student has an idea for something that we can then put on campus because we get a much better turnout. Our 1,100 candles suicide prevention event where we bring the 1,100 candles, tea candles out there, light them up, and students make designs with them and everything. We get to talk about suicide prevention. That was started because 2 social work students knocked on the door. Wow. No, I mean, we have some wonderful programs that started by students saying, can we do something with this? Or what can we do about this?
Yeah, it's a lot of it's student-led, and it's like just by you taking that first step, and it's like, yeah, you guys are just that medium to help them do that, and along with all the other great things that you do. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you guys
Dr.
so much.
Pohl,
I appreciate
Paige
it.
from the Wellness
Can we clap
Center.
or is it like too loud on the mic? Can I? Yeah,
Yeah, a little round of applause.
Little clap.
So once again, I have my name is Cal. This is Amari. Thank you so much, Dr. Pohl and Paige. Oh yeah, Jonathan.
Jonathan, yeah.
Cool. That has been episode 4 of the Sophomore Tea, Leveling Up Your Wellness here at CCSU. We will see you in episode 5. Thank you so much and have a great night.
Mugs too. We need some more taller ones.
Yeah. Awesome.